Okay, I forgot to start the recording earlier, but we already talked about parallel lines, skew lines, and parallel planes. Just as a reminder to everybody, when we write parallel, we can write it as a little symbol as two parallel lines. And to mark them on the diagram, we have little arrows on the parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines that do not intersect and are coplanar. If they're not in the same plane and they do not intersect, then they are called skew. And then planes do not intersect, those would be parallel planes. And when we started going through our notes, we talked about that AB is parallel to CD, because they're in the same plane. And then all of these other lines are skew, including AE. Even though there's not a line drawn through it, the 2-point postulate says between A and E, there is a line. So now we are on lines perpendicular to CD and containing point A. So Madison, what did you think? Did you say DA? Yeah, no, that's correct. It has a little box there. It says it's perpendicular and it contains point A. I'm going to write it as AD because that's just the way I like to write it, but it doesn't matter. You can write DA. Same thing. And then there aren't any others that pass through the same point and are perpendicular. Plane parallel to plane EFG containing point A. Dilafruz, do you know the plane that is parallel to this plane, EFG, but it has to contain point A? How many letters do we need to name a plane? One if it's the name of the plane, but none of these are planes. So how many points, I'm pointing at it, how many points do we need to name a plane? We need 3. So give me 3 points. A, B, H? Is that parallel to this colored in plane? It would be like a ceiling and a floor. So here's the floor. A, B, what? ABD would work, yep. ABD, or you could say plane ABC, which somebody said also. Yep, anything to name this plane up top. Good. Next talks about parallel and perpendicular lines. How if we have any point, there are infinitely many lines that pass through this point. But if we have any point that is not on a line, there's only one line that will be parallel to this other line, and there's only one line that will be perpendicular to this other line that goes to that point. So this is the parallel postulate and the perpendicular postulate. If we start with a line and a point that is not on that line, there is only one line that passes through that point that can end up being parallel to the original line. There's only one answer. And then the perpendicular postulate says if I have a point and a line, there's only one line that can pass through this point and end up being perpendicular to that original line. There's only one answer for that. Those postulates might be used for like a proof or something later. Okay? Example 2 says the given line markings show how the roads in town are related to one another. So what you might notice I was looking, is we see this, which means what? Which means the lines are perpendicular. And then we also see these two little arrows here, and this line also has these two little arrows here. What does that mean? We just learned it today. They are parallel lines. So that's marked for you. You know that that stuff's true. Name a pair of parallel lines. CD and BF. What is your proof? They look parallel, but there's no proof.
Yeah, so EF and DM.
EF and DM, yeah. EF, so I'm going to write EF is parallel to DM. I wrote them like using that parallel symbol. Okay, name a pair of perpendicular lines, Alex. BF and what? Not AD. DM. Okay, so let's say BF. Oops, the wrong one. BF, and we're going to use the symbol that says is perpendicular to. Does anybody remember what the symbol looks like? Perpendicular? Upside down, capital T. Yeah. And then I already forgot his answer, or her answer. I mean, who was? DM. That was it, right? DM. Okay, sorry. Okay, and then is FE parallel to AC? Is FE parallel, Autumn? Is FE parallel to AC? Why not? It's not marked with little arrows, right? So you can't just say, well, they don't look parallel. You have to, like, have evidence. I don't think they're parallel. All right, we've got 5 more vocab words, and these vocab words come up a lot, and then they come up in Algebra 2, and then they come up in pre-calculus as well. So these words get used a lot. What? Yeah, but these are, like, really easy. They're really, really easy. This is, like, everybody's favorite because they're so easy. All right, the first thing is, and this is where I'm going to start doing color. The first one is the word. And a transversal is a line that intersects 2 or more coplanar lines at different points. So I'm going to draw 2 coplanar lines. You can tell they're coplanar because they're on my piece of paper, which is a plane. And then I'm going to draw a line that crosses through, that intersects both of these lines. And that will be my transversal. So I called my transversal line T for transversal. That's what a transversal is. It's a line that intersects 2 or more lines. Corresponding angles. 2 angles that are formed by 2 lines and a transversal that are in corresponding positions. So I'm going to get 2 lines, and I'm going to draw a transversal. And corresponding angles are formed, 2 lines and a transversal, and are in corresponding positions. So I'm going to color in an angle that is kind of like the top left angle of the first line and transversal. So the one that corresponds to that is going to be the top.
Sorry to bother you. Do you have Isabella Gallo in class right now?
I do.
Can you please send her up to the front office for a minute?
Yep.
Thank you.
Sorry. Okay, so in the top left up here, so I'm going to go to the other line and color in the top left angle in the other line. These are corresponding. They're both in that top left position, just different lines. Okay? And there's 4 sets of corresponding angles there. Alternate interior angles. So we're going to start with 2 lines and a transversal. Alternate interior. So interior means we're going to be between the 2 lines. Interior is on the inside. So I'm coloring in one of the interior angles. Alternate interior means one of them is going to be on the left side of the transversal, one of them is going to be on the right side of the transversal. They're on different sides of the transversal, but both of them are on the inside of the two lines. Alternate interior. So next is alternate exterior. So I've got two lines and a transversal. I'm going to choose an exterior angle. Exterior means on the outside of the two lines. Alternate exterior, the other one is also going to be on the outside. It's going to be on the other line, but it's going to be on the other side of the transversal. Alternate exterior. On different sides of the transversal, outside of the two lines. And then consecutive interior. Consecutive interior, we have two lines, we have a transversal, and we're going to pick interior angles. So I'm just going to pick one side of the interior. I'm going to pick one angle. Now consecutive are on the same side of the transversal but on different lines. So this one down here is on the same side as the transversal, it's just on the other line. That would be consecutive interior. There are a couple more angle pairs that we've already talked about that aren't in here, but they're in a previous chapter. I was just going to throw those off to the side because I had people asking me in my last class. I'll just put them in this big empty area here. If I have just two lines that cross, and I'm looking at these angles, what are these angles called? Vertical angles. Okay, there's another pair of angles we talked about before. If I have two lines that cross, and I have this angle, and then I have this angle. Okay? What'd you say? They are adjacent, but even more information because they're adjacent and something else, which is going to make me say something other than just. They're a linear pair because they're supplementary also. Right, so that's another angle pair, linear pair. Adjacent angles we could talk about too. Those are just like this, only they don't form 180 degrees. Okay, I'm going to call on some people. We're going to identify all pairs of the angles of the given type. So there's a picture, and before we even do this, let's label the two lines and let's label our transversal. So line 1, I'll just call L1. Line 2, call that L2, which means my transversal is going to be that one that's not horizontal but closer to horizontal. We'll call that line T. So when I talk about corresponding angles, I'm going to give you angle 1, and then somebody's going to give me the corresponding angle to angle 1, but it has to be on line 2 instead of line 1. So Jordan, if I tell you angle 1, what angle would be corresponding to angle 1? No, it cannot be in the same line. Okay, that's not corresponding. So when I talk about angle 1, I'm thinking like top left-hand corner. So we're going to go to line 2. What's top left-hand corner for line 2? 5. Yeah, angle 5. Good. And then if I say angle 2, Madison, can you tell me what corresponds to angle 2?
Angle 6.
Angle 6. Very good. Angle 3. Zachary, what corresponds to angle 3?
7.
Angle 7. Nice. And then angle 4. Aaliyah, what corresponds to angle 4? I can't hear you, huh? 8, yes. Excellent. Those are all the corresponding pairs. Next is alternate interior. Alternate interior. Tiffany, can you give me one interior angle?
Alternate.
Just give me one interior angle. Any interior angle.
Angle 3.
That is exterior. So interior has to be on the inside between the two lines. So I've covered up the exteriors now. Out of these 4 angles, pick one of them for me, dear. Angle 4. So if we're looking at angle 4 and we want to do interior, then we have to look at the angle that is not on the same side of my green transversal, but is also on the interior. So Tyler, Tyler, can you tell me what is alternate interior for angle 4? Is that on a different side of the transversal as angle 4? Angle 5 is on a different side. That's what alternate means, different side. So angle 5. Okay, and Austin, can you tell me the other pair of alternate interior? 2 and 7, good. Now we're going to do alternate exterior. So we're looking on the outside. Rachel, can you help me out with alternate exterior? Angle 3 and angle 6 are correct. Angle 3 and angle 6 are alternate and exterior. Yesenia, can you tell me the other pair of alternate exterior? Angle 1 and angle 8. Then we're going to do consecutive interior. Hayden Lockard, can you tell me 2 consecutive interior? Same side and inside. 2 and 5 are consecutive, yep. And Bella, you probably weren't even in here when we talked about it. Same side of the transversal on the inside of the 2 lines. Not angles 2 and 5 because that was already given. 4 and 7. Excellent. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to try A, B, and C on your own. I'm going to walk around and look. You're going to answer what kind of angles are shown in the diagram by using your vocab that we just went over. You're just writing whatever kind of angles they are. Okay? I'm going to come around and look at that. Okay, Hayden, what is the answer to question A? Peck, Hayden Peck.
Corresponding.
Corresponding is correct. Tyler, what's question B? Alternate exterior, very good. Alternate exterior. And Caitlin, what's C? Alternate interior. Perfect. Great job, guys. Your assignment is a worksheet. And those of you that got that big